Hello, Peter checking in again. I want to ask another cutting question. Not questions, question. Is your government really worried about your health? Is the health of you as an individual the concern of your government? Do you think so? Do you really think so? Do you really think they're looking after your best interests? Huh? Do you really think that? And my wife just brought up an article to me explaining about them bringing in military, what do you call them? Military corps, military people to come in and to look after the COVID crisis we're living in at the moment and make sure that there's no disinformation coming in. Very interesting. So they're making sure there's no disinformation being put across the internet about COVID-19, which is actually SARS-CoV-2, which is actually the name of the virus. COVID-19 is the symptoms that you get, and coronavirus is an umbrella term for many different viruses, even some of them are the common cold. So let's clear that up first. So it's SARS-CoV-2 we're talking about here. So they're bringing in a military operation to actually police that. So if you look at the government, the British government I'm talking about as an entity, it could be any government, but the British government as an entity, she brought up an article saying that the British government has chemically tested weapons on its own public. You're kidding me. That's not true. It's like they've chemically tested weapons on their own public. I don't know about now, but when I Googled it many years ago, I found article after article after article that they've been testing weapons on the public for many years. And then when you look at declassified documents about how weapons are tested, most of it, or a lot of it, is in the field. Vietnam's a very good example of that. And now you've got the Iraq war, which is a bit more difficult to prove, but they've been using depleted uranium in the battles that they've been having. And there was some sort of microwave weapon when they were coming into Fallujah. Some of the Iraqi soldiers were coming into Fallujah. The doctors just said, what is this going on with these people? Like beams going across them, which had microwave part of their body. Oh my goodness me, which would have been illegal. But of course nobody does anything about it. So it's important to realise that the government isn't looking after your health, otherwise there would be no fluoride in the water. Fluoride is a neurotoxin. In parts of this country we still have fluoride in the water. I met up with Walter Graham at a Dunstable meeting once, and he was talking about getting fluoride out of the water in Northern Ireland. He did a brilliant job of doing that. Fantastic. Thumbs up to Walter. An amazing human being, a beautiful humanitarian, and he battled and spent his time, hard-earned time, battling to get fluoride out of the water in Northern Ireland, and he succeeded. Whoa, amazing. So you've got government who just say, well, my fluoride's okay. So you're mass medicating people's teeth for people who don't need it, just so that you can get a tiny percentage of the population to have the fluoride for their teeth. That's not caring about your health. There's an agenda there. Hydrofluorosilicic acid is what they put into the water, and that's a neurotoxin. And also it comes from, I think it's fertilizer waste. It's a bit of a while since I looked into it. And the case against fluoride is enormous. So it's important to really get that. It's not about your health. It's about whether they can sell or get rid of their junk, basically. And there's no legislation against it. Same with glyphosate. Glyphosate is another thing that's been ignored. Even with court cases where people are being sued, the companies who are producing it being sued because it's caused so much damage, cancer and all this kind of stuff to the environment and the people. Still the government does nothing. Huh? And there was a lying Prime Minister who lied about the weapons of mass destruction. Do you remember that? Maybe some of you are too young for that. Did you remember that when there was an enormous lie, enormous outcry? Do you remember the investigation that was going into that? What happened to that? Well, nothing. Absolutely nothing. As far as I'm concerned, Tony Blair's still roaming about, peddling his wares. Nothing happened, and yet there was an enormous lie that came across from the government. But are they worried about your health? If they were worried about your health, they would be promoting fresh fruit and vegetables, not this 5 a day rubbish. Not 5 a day. You need fresh fruit and vegetables to be healthy. You do, as a human being. Some people will survive without it. And there are some very, very unusual cases where they can't eat fresh fruit and vegetables. I feel sorry for them because there's such an array of food there. But that would be subsidised. It would be fresh fruit and vegetables would be subsidised at the farm level, not meat. Because meat, especially red meat, is a carcinogen, is proven to cause cancer, especially in some ways that it's cooked, excuse me. But fresh fruit and vegetables are not. So why isn't that subsidised and why is meat subsidised? They're not looking after your health, they're looking after an agenda. Makes people sick. EMFs, possible carcinogen. Now coming up to 5G, which is declassified documents as a weaponized technology. So I've talked about EMFs here. This 5G is interesting because you've got weaponized technology. So if you were in your right minds, right, you say this, you wanted to put a 5G burglary alarm on your property, right, and the people put it in, and you say, well, it's wireless and we have protections here, but that can be broken, that can be breached by a hacker, someone who knows what they're doing, so they can hack into your system, and your 5G all across your house could be tweaked by whatever hertz, say 10 hertz, 10.5 hertz, and all of a sudden that becomes a microwave radiation and it will fry you. But the radiation coming from it anyway isn't going to be good for you. But they can do. There'll be somebody who might be able to hack into your system, turn it into a microwave, and fry you in your own home. Oh goodness me! Would you say, yeah, I'll have some of that? That sounds brilliant. Well, that's what they're going to be doing. That's what they're doing now. People can hack in all over the place. You can't. Unwired networks not safe at all. You need all these different things on your devices, and that's always going to be constantly changing to try and encrypt things and make it more complicated to stop people hacking into it. How safe is this system? How much are they telling you about the safety of the system? For two things. One, your health. Two, you've got the hacking in. There was a research paper done in Detroit many years ago. Remember when it came up as a headline in the mainstream media that it was mainly the black community in Detroit the children were aging. So there was like young teenage boys and girls who have got like the human system of a 40-year-old man or woman. Because two things. The telomeres were being attacked by the EMFs. It was a heavily Wi-Fi'd area with mobile phone masts everywhere and Wi-Fi beaming into it. And the diet, bad diet, so it's all fast food like McDonald's and Burger King and all this stuff that's really not good for your body, and your body's not producing the cells in the way that it should do to reproduce the cells, replace the cells that are dying. Because you don't have the same cells, you don't get the same cells all your life, they're always different. From when you're a baby, all your cells are completely different to when you were born. So it's always reproducing themselves, and how do we do that with food? Because it's like the material elements of this world, that's how it works. Energy is a different thing, you're recreating energy. So if you're pulling in EMF energy, you're going to be tired, which is why a lot of people feel fatigued in Wi-Fi areas. But there has been a research paper done on that, and they're showing that it was attacking the telomeres. So is your government really interested in your health? I would say no, and it's us who need to stand up. And there's enormous waves now, especially in America and a little bit over here in the UK, where people are actually going into the courthouses. They can't now at the moment, but that will come back, I'm sure of it. But they're saying we don't want this in our schools anymore. We don't want this in our business. I don't want this in my town because it's dangerous. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on that. I've given you my opinion and I've done a lot of research on it, but I'm always willing to sway. Always willing to sway. So let me know in the comments. If you want to get more healthy, you can do Qigong classes on this channel. Also, I've got the five pillars of transformation, the meditation course that I'm running. You can click the link below this video and you'll find it. Anyway, see you soon. Thanks for watching. Keep shining. So